We had an interesting issue tonight while I was working on this. I plugged in the Arduino and the computer went boop boop like it normally does. My radio was sitting on, and I was listening to Channel 6 on the CB radio earlier in the day, but it had the volume rolled off. So the radio was on general. Now this radio is unlocked now. I don't talk on CB radio, and if I did, I don't use this radio anyway because it would probably not real sound too good on AM. Well, maybe it would, but beside the point, I don't use it to do that. Well, I started to smell something, and I was like, it smells like an iron that's on, someone ironing clothes. And I started kind of looking around, and I thought, well, if anything, the air conditioner is on. So I didn't think anything of it. Just like, seems weird. Maybe it's something coming out of my computer. Maybe an hour later, I noticed, I looked over here, and the TX light on this radio was flashing. And I'm like, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. And it's on 27 megahertz AM, and it's unlocked, which means that if the TX light is flashing, this thing is in transmit inhibit mode for any number of reasons. So I put my hand on the back of the radio, and sure enough, it was pretty warm. And it was blowing out some pretty warm air. And I got on and saw it was... I had... It's only... on my radio on AM is set to 5 watts because I use AM to do testing. And I don't want more than 5 watts when I test. So it's always set to 5. I did go in after this and set the timeout timer to 2 minutes. What's happening is I have a USB cable connected to the radio. And for some reason, there's certain weird things with DTR and RTS that set the radio into transmit mode for no apparent reason. And I had my tuner on here on coax 1 direct. So let's just go check and see what happens when we put it in Mox. We did a 3-to-1 SWR. It's actually really bad. And on here it looks a little bit different. Let's take it off at peak. That's what it looks like now. I guess it does look like 3-to-1. So it's sitting here transmitting 3-to-1 for I don't know how long. And I guess that, that's not good. So luckily it was at 5 watts, and not 100. I think it would have been like at 100 or 40 or whatever, it probably would have smoked itself. I may still end up with a broken radio because sometimes they just don't like this kind of abuse, And with a transistor, you stress it a couple of times and then it's just going to be done. And these are still the same stupid transistors they use in half the Yaesus. They're like the HF100 or RDM100, RDF. I don't know. Anyway, they're not like super amazing or reliable. So I guess apparently I can't keep my radio hooked up to the computer unless I absolutely need to use it, which really sucks because I use it to do FT8, and I cannot have this thing just keying up for no reason, and I didn't know it was keyed up because I was doing other things. So it really pisses me off. So, I don't know, man. I don't really like the interface on this radio. it just like seems stupid. Like I have to set other things that aren't necessary when it comes to something like a 7300 or a 710. And what I really prefer to do is not use the interface of the radio. I prefer to use something like a signal link and just have like, full control over it from there. But even the signal link keys up whenever the computer restarts and does stuff. But for some reason, I guess, like, what was happening is, I think when the Arduino was plugged in or something, it did something weird. Who knows? The other thing that happens is there's a sound card in this radio, and OBS Studio gets confused all the time. And then OBS Studio keys up the radio. Or it starts to try and send audio to the radio. And it's just like, why? This is stupid. So if I look on my computer, let me show you here what it will show for like the radio. Oh, actually, it's not plugged in. But what it'll sometimes do is it'll try and change my speakers from. So I've got speakers, streaming microphone. I'm not even sure which one that is. I don't think I have a microphone hooked up at the moment. Speakers, streaming speakers. Like, what is that? You have the digital output, you have the HDMI. Speakers, Realtek, high definition audio. And then when my radio would be on there, it would be a USB device 3 or something. But every once in a while, it would just decide to access that stuff. So, I'm really not happy about that, guys. I don't know what the hell to do. And this thing has never played very well with SDR Play and OmniRig either. So that's my scary thing for tonight, because I was like, okay, this thing's going to be cooked. Well, I talked to Dave on it for about an hour. I did notice my power supply was really, really warm. And I may have been smelling that, or I may have been smelling the radio, but it smelled like someone ironing clothes. So that definitely means a lot of heat generated somewhere.